I'd say what shocked me the most was realizing this is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You must lose that which you love. A soul for a soul.
What is up, Pixar fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking the brand new Pixar film that is Soul, dropping on Christmas Day on streaming. I can't wait to talk about this. I need you in the comments below. Are you looking forward to this movie? If you've seen it, did you enjoy it as much as I did? I'm going to tell you guys why I truly believe this is one of the best movies of the year. Let's do it. So, a musician who has lost his passion for music is transported out of his body and must find his way back with the help of an infant soul learning about herself. Also, a huge shout out to Disney for providing me a screener for this film. I really appreciate that. Pixar is a studio, and you all know this, that has consistently and constantly put out phenomenal films, one after another, films that resonate and capture different aspects of our lives and allow us to revisit these themes that are both timely but everlasting in a way that not many other studios can capture. I'm talking live action or animation. And the fact that Soul stands out as one of the best Pixar films, I'm not going to say the best, because I have a lot of nostalgia for a lot of their earlier films, and some of their newer movies, like Coco, stand out as some of the best that I've seen over the past 10 to 15 years. But the fact that this is able to do what many other movies in general have not been able to do, other than something like a 9 Days that I watched earlier this year, that's not dropping wide until summer of next year, but 9 Days tackles a very deep, thematically dark in a way, and almost horrific at times subject, and that is what happens to our souls, not post-death, but pre-death. What is the process that our souls have to go through to find our bodies? Now, obviously, this is all done in that film in a way for our minds to comprehend it, but I never imagined seeing a movie shortly after intended for families. I'm not going to say children. This is a very adult-centric movie with a tiny bit of humor in there intended for kids. I wasn't necessarily laughing out loud in those moments, but we get similar things in something like an Inside Out, and I mentioned a Coco. We have to implement jokes like that to keep the kids sticking around throughout the film. And I'm talking on the younger side, absolutely, but just a bit older, especially preteen, going into being a teenager. If I were to watch this film at that age, I would not only have been blown away, I would have been absolutely mesmerized, in awe, and it would have left me thinking about life, thinking about what the meaning is behind our actions, our progression, what we hold so important in our lives, and that's what the main character of Joe is dealing with in this film. He is a very talented pianist with this love, this passion for jazz. Think Gosling in La La Land, and he's willing, always has been, to do whatever it takes, but he is quote-unquote stuck with this job as a teacher, and it's up to him to give this knowledge to the future generation. There are a few kids in his class that, they may not be happy every time they hit a wall. Every time they fail, it's something that makes me want to quit. I don't want to do this anymore. But Joe, being the great teacher that he is, he does his best, even though he feels as if he's just stuck in this situation, to motivate these kids, to teach these kids, and to spread his wealth of knowledge, but he doesn't even realize he's doing it. I think one beautiful thing about this film, before we talk about the soul world that you see in that trailer, is that it highlights the educators, those that are willing to spend their time, make it their career, to teach the future generations, and to do what most of us wouldn't be able to do, and that is have the patience to teach a class full of students something that, yes, he is passionate about, but this is not where he wants to be, even though at the beginning it feels like that's where he needs to be. Well, then Joe goes through a series of interesting events, and after those events are over, we find his soul in this crazy, colorful, vibrant, absolutely astonishing soul world where we find 22, who is somewhat of a lost soul that he ends up having to mentor and essentially pass the knowledge, as he was doing on Earth, to a soul that just doesn't really want to have anything to do with Earth. Now, here is the place, and again, I'm going to refrain from major plot points, but here is the place where we get a look at certain souls that are there before they live out their lives in a human body. So, like 9 Days, a film that I referenced earlier, this is essentially dealing with post-death, but also pre-death. And the movie lays out a series of steps that some of these souls have to go through before they wind up in their bodies in the first place. And it's up to the character of Joe to not only help out 22, but to find the meaning of life himself. Now, these two characters are played by Jamie Foxx, who voices Joe, Tina Fey, who voices 22. We have some other great characters. Graham Norton is a highlight, voice of Moonwind, Questlove, Margot Hall, Daveed Diggs. The cast is spectacular, and all of the characters are interesting. But we continue to get a peek into what life is, was, will be like, both in and out of your body and in this spiritual form. I think they do a wonderful job of capturing New York, not only the grandness and the loudness of New York. It's overwhelming at times, especially for those who are encountering it for the first time. I've never physically been to New York, but everything I've seen in movies, the way that it's portrayed, it may be portrayed better here than it is in any other film that I've seen this year or prior years. But it also captures the subtle, quiet moments, images, people, individuals living in this loud and overwhelming city. And the movie essentially is about taking a look at those quiet moments, appreciating them, and realizing that, I have always lived my life for this one thing: to be the best, to be successful in the way that I have always seen and established in my head what success is. But I've overlooked the fact that in many other ways, in terms of affecting those around me and allowing them to see what I've been able to do, maybe I've already been successful in that way. And sometimes, and I feel like we all go through this, we're so motivated and focused on accomplishing one goal that we miss those smaller moments, those beautiful times in our lives when we've done something and accomplished something, and we don't even acknowledge that we've done it or accomplished it. It's incredible. Watching this film made me look back at my life personally and say, maybe I just need to slow down. Maybe I'm so motivated and focused on whether it's doing this as a movie critic or having a successful YouTube channel. Maybe I need to appreciate you all for tuning into this video and watching it in the first place. And these were all of the thoughts going through my head while watching this movie, a Pixar film, an animated film that one would not expect it to go this deep. One would not, on the surface, be able to fathom how complicated this film truly is. But while you're watching, and this was the case with me at least, even though I was thinking about all of these things, Pixar lays it out in such a simple way. They even say at one point in the film, when they're in this soul world, one of the characters say, yeah, this is essentially just a way to visualize what your soul is going through right now. And that's exactly what the writers were thinking when they were creating this movie. This is a way to show families, kids, young adults, whoever is watching this film, here is one of the numerous possibilities of what your soul goes through prior and post-death. And obviously it's just a fun way to do it, but it's a beautiful way to do it at the end of the day. And seeing the character of Joe go through all of these events, learn from certain mistakes, but also continue to make mistakes throughout the movie, and both characters, Joe and 22 being a character that, maybe at first is a little bit too much for Joe, but you start to learn that it's all about finding your place in this world, or really in any world, and seeing all of the amazing visual things that Pixar has to offer us in this film. The Soul world is outstandingly fun. So much fun when you're there. These tour guides, we'll call them tour guides, kind of take our characters on this journey, and each of them have a very distinct voice. My personal favorite is Rachel House, who we know for Hunt for the Wilder People and Thor Ragnarok. longtime collaborator with Taika Waititi, actually. Her voice is hilarious. I also have to highlight the score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. I have a feeling there is an Oscar nomination in the cards here for multiple categories, but this especially. It combines beautiful emotion when it needs to take place with this crazy upbeat techno vibe that we get every time we go to that Soul world. It is so much fun, and I absolutely loved it. Every little thing that our characters go through, it's all just so much fun, and I feel like everyone is going to be mesmerized by this movie. Sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, the humor doesn't quite hit in a way that had me laughing. I don't want to say lowbrow humor, but there were a few jokes here and there that didn't quite work. But other than that, and one moment that I questioned at first when it happened because it threw me off so much, and it will throw you off as well. You're like, whoa, okay, this is where it was going. It feels like a shtick, okay. And then I slowly start to get used to it, and by the time we get to the end of that run, is what I'm going to call it, I was like, you know what? That was okay. I accepted that. I wasn't completely on board at first, but those are the only issues that I have with the movie that otherwise I believe is beautiful, wonderful. Not only is Soul a visual delight, but the film is one of Pixar's most thematically complex outings yet, featuring an outstanding voice cast. Soul deals with challenging concepts, yet they are presented to us in such a beautifully simple way. This one is special. One of Pixar's best, one of my personal favorites of the year. I cannot wait to rank it here in a week, and one that I say is a must-watch on Disney Plus on Christmas Day. I need you guys in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review and you'd like to support this channel, drop that thumbs up button. And if you're a fan of Pixar, let me know. As for my score, I'm going a 92% for Soul. This movie is awesome. Thank you guys again for watching this video. Stay tuned. We have plenty to come on this channel this weekend, and I may or may not be seeing Wonder Woman next week, but still a few days early, so fingers crossed. We'll have to see. Hey, I have a Pixar tier list coming out this weekend, an updated one, where I will be placing Soul and Onward on that list. All right, guys, I'll see you soon.